got to go get. What did I want? I was gonna go get my water. Okay. I've got to add my dock window. Chat. There we go. Good morning to everybody. Oh, I wanted to see. What I wanted to do was grab my iPad so I can watch the chat. Okay, rather than spending 2 hours on this podcast, maybe I can spend an hour on it today and get my life a little bit more back in line because goodness, I am your channel. Did I go live? Yeah. My life a little bit more back in line because I'm going to lower that volume. Okay. Now I've got to open up I wanted to put this on Twitter. Somebody asked me to look at, let me see this. If I go here and I just go, there we go. Boom. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. Move that. There. That's good enough. Then we'll go back to Safari. It's prime time. Prime. Okay. We're going to open up GarageBand. Here are all my notes. Podcast on GarageBand. Daisy, I love you. Put this on. I haven't done my scans yet, so I gotta do my scans. Oh, look at that. I am back on one computer, and let's do scans. We're gonna do market scanner. And MACD. Let's do the Dow. Are there any scans on the Dow? Good morning, by the way, to everybody watching. So you know, I am back in Atlanta. Coke. Okay, I'm gonna add that to my list. Scans. Coke. Let's see if you guys can hear me. That's the other thing I need to. Spotify video round webcam. Oh, I don't think. Let me see. Audio input capture. Okay, and we will. Yeti microphone. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I think you could, but. I think you could because I turned my volume. So, yeah, you can hear me. What I'm doing is I'm scanning. Coke had a cross up. So the Coke chart, I'm telling you, that one right there, Coke's a buy. Pepsi reported earnings. They increased prices by 17% and were able to have growth. So we're adding Coke in there. I will go to my brokerage holdings and let's scan this. Walmart. So there's some good justification for just seeing some of these. This is my watch list here, not owned. But there's some good justification for maybe a continued rally today. Okay, I don't think there's anything in not owned because it's taking that long. Let's go to all the ARC holdings to see what crossed up here. Joby, there ain't no way I'm getting you into Joby. That's the flying car thing. Ceragon Networks. Wow, look at that gap up there. Could we go from 175 back up to 2 based on, let's see, CRNT. Let's look at this one. Ceragon Networks. Let me see how much of FinViz it will show. $6 price target from Aegis Capital. I guess you can't see. Oh, the right side. Man, why can't you see the right side of that? Let's see. Is it because let's move this to Safari. That's why. Okay, we're going to move this down like this, and then we'll put it like that. Then you can see the whole thing. TrendSpider, let's see how TrendSpider looks. I'd like to just show the top of TrendSpider. So we're gonna and we'll go kind of like that. There we go. We'll move that like that. There we go. Now we got a full screen. Now what can you see of? Yeah, you'll be able to see enough of that. You can see the chart and everything. Yeah, okay. So sorry, I'm just setting up all this. Ceragon Networks, they're not making money. Their forward PE is 20. Boy, I don't think I'm going to include that one. Not in the podcast. Too risky at times like this. So let's go to Be Real notification. By the way, I am on Be Real. If anybody wants to get on Be Real, I have like 4 friends. Nothing in the NASDAQ yesterday crossed up. Wow. Let's check the S&P. I think Coke is in the S&P, so, and Walmart. I guess Walmart's not. Okay, let's go back to strategy tester run. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, look at that. That's the cross up I talked about. Could it go from 175? That RSI is down there. Let's look at Coke. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this podcast here too. I've got this. The sound seems to be okay. Wow, look at Coke. God. You did lose on the last buy from 56 down to 54. But there ain't no... With Pepsi's earnings today, no reason not to invest in Coke. None at all. So let me start this podcast. I'm going to record. Okay. Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 12th, and I am back. I'm live on YouTube, and I'm recording the podcast all at once, so you guys can hear If you're listening in the car, I started probably 9 minutes ago. I think 9 or 10 minutes ago on YouTube Live. I've got a few people watching in there, and I've got the chat up on my iPad. So if you guys on YouTube Live are watching, ask me any question, ask me anything that you need to know, and I'll certainly do my best to answer it while we're live on the podcast. And if you're listening to the podcast in your car or afterwards or anything like that, again, join me on YouTube Live when I'm at home in Atlanta. I can record on YouTube Live and do the podcast live at once, and I usually jump on between 8 and 9. Today is a little bit later because we were waiting for the producer's price index, and it came in Santelli was fighting with Leisman on the air, and Stephanie couldn't get any word in. It was good drama. Wasn't very, stocks are going to fly. Futures are still in positive territory, but most likely that is simply just because we're in an oversold market. And if you want to see what I mean about an oversold market, look at SPY. I'll pull up SPY here on my algorithm here in TrendSpider. That RSI is down at 35. See the MACD crossing down. I don't expect anything today to take off. Tomorrow we get the Fed minutes. Or is it today? No, it's today. Today at 2:30 we get the Fed minutes. The Fed minutes might lead us into some type of hype rally. Who knows? But simply what you're seeing is oversold stocks are getting a little bit of a bounce, and futures are, they're kind of flat. They were up. They're flat. There's some things out there that are positive. There's some things out there that are negative. But I wanted to go over one big opportunity that I've been talking about, and they do have earnings coming up. So Netflix is one that I wanted to look at here because their earnings are coming up on October 18th. That's next week. And you're seeing a little button hook right here. It's on the 4-hour chart, it's using the 200-day as support. It's been clear. This one's just using it as support here between 210 and probably 230. That's kind of been capitulating. It's been, it probably put in the bottom here because the SPY, you've seen September, this one's just been kind of hovering around here. Now, on their earnings, there's going to be no focus on the actual subscriber numbers. None. It's going to be all about that ad-based tier, how far they are forward on that ad-based tier, and what they can do with that ad-based tier. That's 100%. I've been talking about this gap here between 250 and 350. That will be a key because we could go from 214 to start to fill that gap at 250. Any type of positive news. Now, you've heard from Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan. JP Morgan's earnings are coming up. I think they're after the bell today, if I'm not mistaken. It is October 13th, so it's tomorrow. I think it's pre. Let me just check. It is pre-market tomorrow. You're going to hear probably more of the degrading of the economy. That we probably have a long recession ahead of us. Blah blah blah. You're going to hear a lot of that type of stuff from Jamie Dimon. I'm sorry, from JP Morgan. This stock is oversold at 31. I think anything under 100 on this one, you pull the trigger. Let's look at JP Morgan. Their book value is 85. So 85 is their book value. I would think that it would get down towards that at some point in time. This one, you have a 4% dividend yield, 3.92. It is down 35% year to date. It is 41% below its 52-week high. It is only 0.11% above its 52-week low. So it's bouncing off that 52-week low. Again, 85 is the book value. Its PE is 8. To just put it in perspective, Bank of America's PE is 9. They've got a 3% dividend. That one is 40% off its 52-week high. It's 0.68% above its 52-week low. I noticed that Bank of America is trading around 30. Neither one of these, by the way, have a MACD cross-up. So I'm not recommending them here. I'm just kind of putting pivot points where you could think about starting a position. And remember, when you start a position, you don't want to go all in. Say you want 100 shares of Bank of America. So you want to invest $3,000 in there. You basically buy 20 shares, 15 shares. These days, nobody should be paying for trading. So I do think that you have an opportunity here with rising interest rates. I think banks will probably get a boost at some point. Bank of America in particular, your average win is 8.42% down here on the right. You win 44% of the time, 25 positions total within 1,000 charts. Your performance of the algorithm is 36% versus just buying and holding, you make 26%. So my guess is that 30 is your pivot point. I think either one of these banks, if you don't want to pick a bank, just buy XLF. We can look at XLF right now here just to see. You can see it got you out right here yesterday. And XLF is just oversold. I wouldn't expect it to bounce up at any point in time today. I don't think there's a catalyst for any of these financials. And if we go into FinViz and look, XLF is only 0.8% above its 52-week low. These have been beaten down unbelievably. So financials just, when you go into a recession, who knows? There's a gap here between XLF between 30 and 31. It's trading at 30.36. I would expect it at some point in time to cover that one when it's on its way back up. But you can see if I expand this MACD right here, you can clearly see that's still on its way down. There's no reason to kind of buy this one right there. None whatsoever. Be patient. Hold your horses on that one. But I did want to go into kind of Netflix, and that led me into Jamie Dimon. Netflix, I think, is an opportunity. I personally have never owned Netflix. This might be where I get in. Josh Brown kind of got in. I think he was around 240 when he got in. It's at 214 right now. If this one dips under 200, I think you could take that chance and go into it. It just hasn't been pulled down the same way the rest of the market. Now, that's danger because could it be pulled down? It could. It's 64% down year to date, 31% above its 52-week high of 162. It's 52-week high. It's 31% above its 52-week low. It's 69% below its 52-week high, which was $700. Completely crazy. You can see the PE is 20. That is more in line with a pretty general growth stock. And again, the analysis and the earnings will not be on how great this company's subscriber base is growing. It's going to be on that ad-based tier. So it's an opportunity in my mind. We talked about Nike the other day, right after their earnings, how they were popping back up. See that buy right there at 90.49, probably going to get you out with a loss. But the MACD, clearly that MACD kind of faked out and it's on the rise again. This one's just oversold. The RSI is currently at 40. You've got a gap up here that has not been filled. See that little gap? It's still got a gap between 93 and 94 that needs to be filled. It's trading at 88. Could be a good move. Again, any good sign in the market, you're going to see this one go up. Any kind of point towards recession, if the Fed comes out and the minutes are like, oof, the Fed ain't holding up at all, they're not slowing the pace, you're going to see this one go down. And by the way, futures have taken a leg down. Disney, below 100. Again, Nike, I think anything below 100, you're golden. I think in the long term, that one's going to come back up. You're going to see it kind of shoot back up. Disney, we did have a buy-in like here. I did kind of go over this on October 4th, 98. Got you out with a 4% loss yesterday. I don't know that I'd necessarily sell out of this one because I just don't see, I don't see, take this back to the gap here. People are holding on to this. It's setting, it's volume shelf there. Let's go to a daily. We'll go to a daily, and I'll pull this volume shelf back here towards the highs, and you can see that volume shelf here between 93 and 98. That's where the majority of people are now holding, and that's all the way back to September of last year. If we go back even further, and I'm going to pull this all the way back to its 52-week high of March 2021. That's even past 52 weeks, I think. But see that base? If you go to a weekly, let's go to a weekly, and we'll pull that volume shelf back even a little bit further. We'll go back to, it's 52-week high. You can clearly see there's not a lot of pressure down below here. The market will take it down below, but there's not a whole hell of a lot of pressure to go down below. So I don't think that you've put in a bottom, because look at where it was trading right around COVID, 87. That was when nobody was going to the parks, when there were no sports on TV, when there were no cruises, when Disney Plus had just been talked about, not necessarily launched. I don't know where the bottom is on this one, but I can't imagine. Look at the fundamentals. Disney's PE is still 53. It's still rather high. But I just, you're only 3% above your 52-week low. This one's just been beaten down. So anything under 100 on that one, I think is good. Now, overall market, we can talk about SPY. Let's talk about the S&P. I'm going to break out of the S&P. There we go. Let's do SPX. This is $SPX to take a look at this. We're looking at the weekly right now. And there is this gap down here about 3,200. When you hear people talk about the 3,200 range for this SPY, that's the gap that they're talking about. And it's from COVID. If we go back there, again, you can see on the weekly how it's using this 200-day as support. It kind of broke through there. If we zoom in a little bit, because we don't need to go back pre-COVID really, you can really see how it's broken kind of towards that 200-day. Now, it is not something that I think is going to be normal to break on that 200-day. Like prolonged. You can see every time it's kind of broken and it's come back. So I would expect that one to come back pretty well. Katie Stockton on CNBC this morning, who has been significantly right on the technical trends of this, says they see a 3,500, which is right here, which is they see that as a short-term support, and that's the weekly. So she's seeing right here, you could see a bounce off here like you saw back here in June. You could see a bounce up, to the 4,000 level, maybe if you have some really great catalysts. She doesn't expect that. But she does say that they see the 3,200, which is that gap down there. They see that as a technical support level. Whereas if the Fed continues to tighten and continues to be real hawkish with their speak, that's where she sees it going. Now, she does see oil continuing its run and continuing to go up. So let's look at some of these oil stocks in the algorithm. Devon Energy is an oil stock. I've told you, hey, there's that button hook. We've got that button hook. Anything above 70, you want to sell. Anything below 60, you want to buy. You've got a gap here between 61 and 62. It's probably going to trade back there. 67 right now, the market. Again, look at that red, all that red there. But Devon Energy is trading at 67.87. You can get into this one, I guarantee you, below 70, below 60 at another point. Earnings are coming up November 1st.
You can clearly see that RSI. It was overbought here. You haven't gotten out of it. The MACD will probably cross down here today, which will indicate a buy. A sell. So you're really looking, see the Bollinger Bands, how they kind of expanded, and now they're cinching up. Could mean a move higher. I probably am going to look at selling and rebalancing on some strength today. Occidental down at 63. This was at 67 earlier in the session. So it was that PPI that really kind of indicates, hey, we're going into a recession and the Fed is going to have a hard landing, not a soft landing. So we could be in. See that button hook? Yep. Under 60. Buy it again. Let's look at PXD, which is Pioneer Natural Resources. Love Pioneer Natural Resources. This is a 9% dividend. See the button hook? Yeah. This one's going to cross down. See that MACD crossing down? And the RSI is at 53. So again, these Bollinger Bands are going to sync up. You've got some volume support level here at 226. I would expect that to be where it goes back to. Marathon Oil, MRO. This is one that oil producer. See the Bollinger Band? See the button hook? 22 was the buy-in. You're at 27 right now. Get out of it, but again, you can play these kind of runs. CVX, anything under 160, buy it. Anything over 160, sell it. You can see the buy-in was at 148 here. The button hook just above 160, sell it. Sell it, get out. Your earnings are coming up on October 27th. All of these energy plays have earnings coming up later in October. And so you've got an opportunity to sell before, hold on until earnings. The earnings are going to be spectacular. These will trade on any forward guidance. That's essentially where it is. And I do think that you're in a trading range here. So I do think that trading these makes sense. Earnings, I'd buy them all day long before earnings. I think you're going to get blow-away numbers. Remember, anything that's in the market is priced into the market. So you're never going to kind of, hey, I'm going to get a 50% gain on this one because nobody's expecting the earnings. It's all priced in. Commodity play, CLF, which is a favorite. This one has a button hook creating, I think. It's kind of capitulating here. The buy-in was September 28th at 1374. You're at 1512 right now. The earnings are coming up October 24th. Again, these guys kind of on earnings, they kind of capitulate into earnings, kind of down, and then they go up. This one, was just a surprise earnings, and, we were going into a recession, and this one had to come down from 20. I say anything under 20, you can buy this one. Once it hits 20, absolutely sell this one all day long. Pepsi earnings, they blew it away, and they will be up today. Significant. PEP, full disclosure, I own PEP. You can see it here in my brokerage owning. It's up 2% in today's market. It gapped up on the algorithm. So I would expect it to come back to fill that gap at some point in time. They announced that they raised their prices some by up to 17%. And where they raised prices by 17%, they continue to see growth. So they absolutely 100% have pricing power. I do have a note in here, and I wanted to bring it up, go back to Bank of America. I traded Bank of America regularly pre-pandemic. I believe it was, I bought it in 2008 when Warren Buffett went into Bank of America. I bought a shit ton of Bank of America. I wound up selling it a few years later. I think it might have been the majority of it I sold right before the pandemic. I think it was February when we heard that, hey, there was a lot of speculation that we were going to go into a pandemic. I just wound up selling my financials because if the financial system was going to collapse again, I didn't want to be in there. I didn't hold a lot because I had sold through a lot of the term there. But Bank of America, my old price was $25 pre-pandemic. My new price is $30. So anything under $30, I think you could actually buy on Bank of America and be long on. The book value is $29.55. So you're trading at book value on Bank of America. It's one of the largest banks in the country. They took over Countrywide. They took over Merrill Lynch. It's a great great management company. I think it's very good. So I think Bank of America, I did have a note in here. Hey, Bank of America is actually really, really good. TQQQ. I talk about how fast this one moves because it is triple levered. This one had a sell on the algorithm here on October 10th. You're not seeing significant support to buy it in that you're going to absolutely go up. See that cross down there on the MACD? It hasn't turned, but the RSI is at 32. So I think if you buy this one at 18 here, I think $18 is probably your target price, maybe $18.20. Let's look at the 52-week range. You know what? I'm going to show you guys. I can actually change this to Active Trader Pro. And we're going to go into Active Trader Pro and look at live TQQQ. And I'm going to show you Active Trader Pro. I typically use a 2-day chart, and then I kind of zoom in from there. See how it's lost its support once that 830 consumer price index came in. That's where we went down. And now if I zoom in here on Active Trader Pro on this chart, and Active Trader Pro is just a beast, a hog of a program here on the max. And see the Bollinger Bands expanding? It's up at 1835. I think if you get it in this 1823 to 1827, I think if you buy that one, I think you could hold on to it this week. Again, my guess is that we do fairly well with the Fed notes this afternoon. I don't think there's anything that's going to come out of there that's going to shock it on the downward side. I think it could show some Fed members were overly hawkish and have come out and have been a little less hawkish now. So I think that could be an opportunity. And we will go back to Safari. Let me find Safari here. Where is Apple Time Machine? Software update, Bank of America stock quote. There we go. And we're back on Safari. So I can switch between those two for YouTube Live. Doesn't make a difference for the podcast audience, but I can. I have a note here about Berkshire. BRK.B. Berkshire Hathaway. BRK.B. BRK.B. This is one, if you look at Berkshire's holdings, insurance companies, oil, transportation companies, Apple, this is one that is good for the long haul. And I do see this range here between probably 260 and about 300. I think you're in this range, and I think you're going to be in this range for a little while. I think that the floor of 260 is probably where this could go. But are you upset that you bought this at 266? Probably not. We're going to look at B. It is 2% above its 52-week low. It's 26% below its 52-week high. Performance year-to-date is down 10%. That is significantly beating SPY. Significantly, almost half of what SPY is. More than half. You can see it's capitulating with a volume shelf that's being built right around here. And if I go to let's go to a weekly. See how it hasn't really pulled back? 240 is probably your floor on this. If we get to a 200 on this one, I'd be buying this all day long. That goes back to November 2020. That where it gapped up here. I don't exactly know what happened on that date, but you can see there's a clear volume shelf here. There's a volume shelf at 230 as well. Well, let me pull this. I'm going to pull this volume back here. 2021 is probably more relevant. You've got this floor that's being built. There's no real floor. The support level is 244. I think that's where the reality of Berkshire B could go if it's down. But in a recession, I think this one trades in this range. And you've got a dividend. Doesn't say what the dividend is, but I'm pretty sure Berkshire B pays a dividend. I think it's a good place to be. Podcast favorite mRNA, which is Moderna, announced with Merck that they are developing a cancer vaccine, an mRNA cancer vaccine. It's up huge. See that gap? It's up at 140. It was trading at 120 earlier today. We had a buy-in here at 120.93 back on September 30th. It's quickly getting to oversold. It's at 70 on the RSI. So I don't think that you buy this one today, but I think that it's going to creep back up to that 200-day at 145, and I think that's going to provide some resistance level. So is there an mRNA? Let me see. Short stock. I don't know if there's an mRNA short. I guess I can't. There's not an mRNA short, so you'd have to buy puts. Do what Jackson and other folks on Instagram always do is when I think something's going to come down, just buy puts. I do think that you're going to come back down to this 120 level once the quote-unquote hype gets out of this one. They've got earnings coming up on November 2nd. So if you look at the insiders, and I'm going to expand this out, look, nobody's buying. There's no insider buying. They're selling. Bancel on October 6th just sold $6 million worth. That's not a huge one. He's been selling hundreds of millions of dollars in stock. There is absolutely no buying going in. There's awards, but there's no buying. So mRNA, in my mind, I think that, again, that's a signal that I do think it has opportunity, but I think it's trading opportunity. So that's just my opinion. I apologize, but somebody wanted me to look at CEI. I couldn't find the message. I think it was on one of my YouTube videos. You guys wanted me to look at CEI. I think you had gotten in at like 80 cents or something, or 18 cents. So here's CEI. And what I have to say about Canberra Energy is this is a 100% retail hype play. This has no reason to be even 18 cents or near $1. You can see it kind of trending down here as retail has kind of gotten out. It's starting to pick back up with some volume levels there. You can see on the up days, you can see like June 8th, it had a huge volume day. Here at July 19th, it had a huge volume day. The algorithm loses you 77%. Buying and holding this stop loses you 88%. Now, your average win is 88% on this one. It's crazy. And that's because you've had some pops here. If I pull this back and you can see all of these stocks, see that win from 40 cents up to, $4? Your win, I think it was like 1,000% or something like that. I can't really see it. But when it got you out, let's see, collapse. Yeah, 188% right there. So that's the big win. But when you look at this, it's a downward trajectory, pointing stock. There's no reason to get into this one. I would say trade it. If you're looking at it from a short-term perspective, this is, just got you out with an 11% loss. You're at 17 cents. Let me move it back to Active Trader Pro so you guys can see. We'll go back to Active Trader Pro. We'll look at a live look at it, just so you guys can see where I might trade from a live perspective. CEI, see it's lost. See how these Bollinger Bands up here kind of expand and then it trades out underneath that Bollinger Band? When that happens, get in. You can scalp it. 16 to 17 cents. What's that?
Let's see. What's 1 cent divided by 16 cents? That is, what's 1 divided by 16?
This isn't great podcast. It's a 6% move for a 1 cent gain. But see how it did that? 2 cent gain, 12% gain, 3 cent gain. You see how that one works. Every time it trades here outside the Bollinger Band, takes a leg up. Trades outside the Bollinger Band, takes a leg up. It's an easy way to scalp things. When it's outside that Bollinger Band and you have a stock that's as volatile as this one, you can tend to trade and make some money that way. Let's look at UVixy while we're looking at some of these. UVixy, see how it's lost it? The VIX is at 33. Wants to come back into the 20s. Probably wants to go to the 40s based on us going into a recession. I haven't talked about UVixy in a while, but that's where we're going. The averages have turned around. You can see that kind of here. Well, you can't see that because I cut off the bottom. But yeah, let's go back to TrendSpider. So CEI, trade it. I would not own that one from a long time. Let's look at. Oh, did anybody watching Twitter see that Elon put out a fragrance? Burnt hair. Let's look. Because I don't know if anybody bought it, but he announced. Let's go and look at Elon's. Let me look up Elon. Elon Musk. There we go. He announced that he sold 100,000 of these within like 10 minutes. It's $100. 100,000 at $100. It's $1 million he made. Burnt hair, the finest fragrance on earth. The guy's nuts. He's crazy, but I like it. Again, shows that he's an influencer. He can make some money. He can do whatever he needs. He's not going to fund his Twitter purchase that way. And by the way, yeah, let's talk about Twitter. Should you get into Twitter? No. I got out at 52. I continue to say that was the most brilliant call that Dan Nathan has ever made. He got me out of that one. You can see the MACD's kind of coming down. Now, there is no reason to think that this one is trading on any type of technical fundamental. This is simply going to trade on news. Up until October 28th, when they have to do a deal. My assumption is that Musk, does something to push it towards the court date. It's pretty clear if they can't get to a decision now when Musk has said, hey, I'm willing to pay $54.20, and they still can't come to a deal, he's going to push this one to probably to that court date. I don't think he cares at this point. So my suggestion would be buy some puts. That would be my suggestion. And speaking of Elon, let's look at Tesla. I've told you guys, I think this one's going back down to 205. It is completely oversold. The RSI is at 19. That MACD has no sense of turning around right now. See that gap right there? This blue line has to come up to that yellow line. It's a significant issue. So I would not, absolutely would not look at this one and say, hey, there's an opportunity here. Because when it does turn around, I think it's going to come back to that 250 level. The one you probably would want to look at right now, if you're engaged and you really want to look at something, Tslq is the one. This is a brand new stock, so it doesn't even have a 200-day, doesn't have any technicals, but you can see this one's gone from 37 to 52. Great trade. That's the one that you've wanted. If you want to do a stock, if you didn't want to short Tesla, which I would never short Tesla because so many people have gotten burned. But again, Tesla is down at 213. It's down 1% today. I would not get in. I do think that 250 is a price target rather than a resistance level, which it was earlier this month. But I do think that I'm getting back into it, but I'm not getting back into it until it makes sense. So that is what I wanted to look at. Snowflake, I talked about Snowflake. I said anything around 180 you should buy. And all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out and it's at 150. I still say that. Do not buy this one right now. There's no reason to. See how it's trending down. The RSI is at 30. You're going to get a bounce in this one. You'll go back towards the 180s. This gap here between 182 and 186, you're going to fill it at some point. I mean, it's just simple as that. So scans. Let's look at scans, and then I'll go to, I think there was a question on YouTube about something, but I'll take a look at the chat on YouTube in a little bit. Coke, KO. I own this one. It's probably going up because of Pepsi's earnings, but Coke is up 1.98%. If you wanted to start a position, 55 is not a bad place to start a position. We can look at KO versus Pepsi. KO's PE is 24. They have a 3.23% dividend, which is great. They are only 6% above their 52-week low. They're 17% below their 52-week high. Remember how I said this is going to trade between probably 55. I'd say anywhere between 55 and 60 is where I would think that it would kind of go back up to when it does. See that death cross, that blue line under the red line? That's where you can strictly see it lost all its support. There's no volume levels that you can kind of see, but it did get a MACD cross up. Their earnings are coming up on October 24th. So I do think that you can see it. Now, when we go and look at some of the fundamentals, KO versus PEP, Pepsi has a PE of 23. They have a 2.83% dividend yield. They were 9% above their 52-week low. I think performance year to date, they're only down 6%. When you look at Coke, and this is why I'm telling you to buy Coke, Coke's down 7%. They're 6% above their 52-week low. They do have a higher PE, but I do think they have a higher dividend. I think you could buy this one and trade this around this one. I also think you could buy and hold this one. I don't think there's a problem in buying and holding this one. Another scan that came up, and the only other one that I'm going to go over, Walmart. And I often say, hey, Walmart is... I like Target better than Walmart. Walmart's purchase at 132.72. They're up at 134. I do think that this gap up here, this gap hasn't been completely filled at 138. So I think you still have a few dollars left in that gap. Walmart's the place where people go for groceries during a recession. You're not going to see this one trade below the 130, I don't think, anytime soon, unless they announce, hey, we've got more inventory issues. But look at Walmart, which has a PE of 26 versus Target. Target's PE is 17. They are 13% above their 52-week low. And they have a 2.8% dividend yield. So while Walmart crossed up, I think Target's going to continue to cross up. They had a cross up Target here back on September 29th at 152. You're still in that trade. It's only at 155. So you're within that trading range. I'd probably rather buy Target than Walmart just because I do think that this is a $200 stock in a decent market. So I think you've got an opportunity there. Dom, marijuana stocks with value, TLRY, along with others, had a pump due to Biden pardoning federal inmates for marijuana charges. Are you investing in medical marijuana? Dom on YouTube asked that one. No. And Dom, I kind of went over this on marijuana before. I think marijuana stocks, and Jesse, Jesse and I both agree, go down to your local dealer. Here's the thing about medical marijuana, I think works. Medical marijuana, as far as the trade I'm talking about, medical marijuana is something that I think you could trade, but I think what I'd rather see you do in medical space is get into a company like Merck, get into a company like Amgen, get into one of those type of medical companies. Even UNH. I mean, shit, medical marijuana becomes something. UNH is going to, probably be a beneficiary of stuff like that too. You can see it's clearly. I still say under 500 buy this one. It's at 505 today, but it's putting in that kind of capitulation here between probably the just about 500 and 520. They've got their earnings coming up. Looks like tomorrow. Is it pre-market or post-market? Let's look at this one. It is pre-market, so tomorrow before the market opens, UNH. I might buy UNH. They on earnings, they kill it usually. So it's usually that's where you see this gap. They could announce something crazy, who knows? But Dom, I don't think that marijuana works overall, and the reason is the taxes. I'm an edibles guy. I take edibles. I love edibles. I go, travel to different states. First thing I do when I get in Colorado, go and buy edibles. First thing I do when I go to Vegas, go and buy edibles. I'm a fan of marijuana. I just don't think the taxing works because the illegal trade is so strong. For instance, I think with an edible in Vegas, that was the last time I bought an edible there. I think it was like $30, $40 for a brownie. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe it was even $50. I forget the actual price, but I remember looking. 50% of the cost was tax. And so, again, when you look at that, a private guy, if I live in Vegas, I'm not going to that pot shop and paying 50% in tax. I'm going to go to the local dealer and pay 50% less because the illegal trade is still so strong. And it's not like the dispensaries are putting pricing power on them. So I'd stay away from those. I mean, if you want me to look at Tilray and Constellation, I think, are the two that I would, Constellation Brands, because they have Canopy. And that's where I think the drinks come in. But see, Tilray has just been a loser. The algorithm loses you 50%, and buying and holding this thing loses you 50%. So I just think that it's just a loser. 289 is where it's trading. 293 was there. You see it took that pop up to 4. Could have made a lot of money. These are just hypes. Let's look at Canopy. But, again, I'll look at Constellation Brands because I think they own a huge portion of Canopy, if I'm not mistaken. But Canopy, you can see it popped. Then it came back down. That's what you're going to see until you get some type of growth in these. And the problem is the margins continue to be just compressed down. Constellation Brands, which also owns STZ is the symbol. This one owns a bunch of one of the pot companies, and I think it's a good one. But you can see, as we get into recession area, you're just not seeing very very good strength there. It is turning. I think you'll see a cross up here. I think this is one of those that's I think oversold. Once it turns up, I'll add it to my list and we can watch it on the turn up. But I think that's your best bet. SOXS for my fellow edible dude, Jesse, on YouTube Live. Here's the only reason this one went up, and you've got it here at is because of Biden. Biden basically put the chip stocks on alert. They still have some inventory issues. You're in this trade at $70. It's at $75 right now. The danger on this one, Jesse, is that RSI is up at 70. And see how this MACD is kind of just button hooking at the top. If for some reason there's some other type of announcement from the Biden administration, boom, this one's a good one. But I think if I were in this one at 70, I'd wait for it to hit 77 and then probably pull the 10% out. The gaps down here at 46 to 48 and 54 to 57, with that huge volume shelf sitting here at 54, I just think that's too strong. It's going to get pulled down here and you're starting to see it kind of lose its way. with a red candle. It's going between a red candle and a green candle right now. I like the trade. I think it's gotten you 10%. I think today you'll hit that 77, but I think it's hard. Yeah, Cameron, you're in Canada. Weed is legal. Yeah. Here's what Cameron says about weed. Weed is legal, but illegal dealers are cheaper and they deliver. There's some market for the legal pot, but mostly from new users, and it's tourists. That's what it is. And yeah, Jesse in Maine, 5.5% tax. Wow, it's not a bad tax. Honestly, that's a super low tax. I think my cousin gets her edibles from Maine. There's a pretty good edible on Instagram. I won't publicize it, but there's a pretty good edible on Instagram. So I think that'll do it for the podcast. I'll hang out a little bit on YouTube Live with you guys, maybe trade some stuff live. I am happy to be back in Atlanta. I got a good night's sleep in my bed. Oh, I wanted to go over this one too. I totally missed this note. Boyle is finally making the turn. You're in this at 53.02. And it's red again. It was up this morning. But it hasn't gotten you out of this $53 trade. You're at $50. Let's look at this MACD. See, the MACD is just floating along that strike line, while the RSI is just kind of hovering around the 30. At some point, this pops up. I'm telling you, this gap up here at 86, it's gonna move back up there. I continue to say that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm buying this at 53. It's covered this gap already, which was a gap here. It got to 53 on September 30th. I just don't see those lower volume as we moved along. That's what worries me. Now let's move back to Active Trader Pro, so we can look at Boyle to see if it's got any type of confirmation. Does it trade outside the Bollinger Bands? Is there something that we can see here? Yeah, see, it's lost all of its confirmation. It traded outside the Bollinger Band, but it didn't sustain it for a second candle. And these are 1 minute candles. Let's look at a 5 minute candle. And this is what I talk about when I talk about trading and using different time frames to look at this stuff. Oh man, and just Active Trader Pro, it's just messing up. I can't do it, but you got that 1 minute candle. Let's look at CEI while we're in here, so I can show you guys how it did lose. Yeah, see, if you would have gotten in when it traded outside that Bollinger Band at about 16, like I said, it moved to 17. See how it was out there for 3 candles? Buy it at 16.85, move up there. You've got all the confirmation in the world. Now the Bollinger Bands are slowing down. You trade above that Bollinger Band. Second time above that Bollinger Band, I'd be looking to get out with my 17 cent. My 1% gain. Again, that's a 6% gain in 10 minutes? It's great. CEI is one you trade. It is a favorite of the retail players. So I'm going to cut this one, 48 minutes. I'm back to doing an hour, back to chatting way too much. So have a great day. I will be back on tomorrow. We'll talk about those Fed minutes. We'll talk about some of the cross-ups. I'm hoping we see a green day today. All of the averages are up slightly. I'm hoping we end that way. The selling pressure at the end of the day has been high. And if I do trade, maybe I'll go on live later today. I stepped on the scale this morning and my ass needs to lose some weight. So take care, you guys. Have fun. Okay. Share, export song to disk. Export. Okay. Now I'm live on YouTube. ALGT. Let me see. I'll look for you, Jesse. Good short. Allegiant Travel. What the hell made you short this one? Shorting travel. I hope you've been in short. It's got no support down here. Earnings are coming up. The MACD's button hooking. It's oversold, man. If you why'd you retract that message? ALGT. I don't know that I'd short travel, but if you have, kudos. Let's pull this back here. Yeah. God. Let's see. Let me look at ALGT. I gotta post that podcast too. Upgrade, Jesse, the upgrade, the last analyst upgrade. Oh God, their revenue's down September. Yeah. This is Allegiant Airlines. Have you flown Allegiant, Jesse? I haven't flown them, but I wanted to fly them out to Vegas one time. It's supposedly even cheaper than Spirit. Like from a flight quality standpoint, I should say. Oh, let me see. Was anybody listening? Anybody on the person that wanted me to look at CEI? My apologies, I couldn't find. I remember seeing it. Maybe it was a dream, but I remember seeing it. I didn't write it in my notes, and I was like, "Ah, shit! I should have written that in my notes." Yeah, I'm gonna do another podcast today. Yeah. Whenever you want. So you guys know I do a podcast with Rick Barron. Look up Political Insider with Rick Barron. I think I did my first one. He now wants to do it with me daily. He thinks I'm a good talker. And we had a Trump dude come on and say how he liked how we presented both sides. And by the way, both Rick and I think, I won't talk for Rick, but I will talk for myself. I skew more liberal. My conservative friends hate me, but I do skew more liberal. But I am conservative in my financial, whereas I think the government should spend way less money. So yeah, Spirit is awful. My friend Nikki just took Spirit. We went on a cruise down in, her cousin is like the CEO of Virgin, and we took a cruise. Wow, CEI. Okay, I should switch this. Let me show you guys. I'm going to switch this. Oh, I've got it on CEI. Okay. You can see the Active Trader Pro. Why is it so small? I thought I put this up like this. God, I hope it didn't look like that the whole time. But see that Bollinger Band? How it traded for 2 candles above that Bollinger Band? And now it's back down to 17.1. Again, stocks like this, you guys can trade all day long, I think, and scalp. I'm a big believer in those. Let me try and change this again. Why is this not doing it? You know what? I'm going to restart Active Trader Pro. Why won't it do it? Let me quit Active Trader Pro and restart it. I'm going to move this back over to TrendSpider so you guys don't see this. And I'm going to restart Active Trader Pro. Quit. Yes. And then we'll restart it. I don't know why it's not bringing it up. God, and maybe at some point I'm going to shower before I do this YouTube live too. Okay, what's everyone trading today? Let me see. Force quit. Let me make sure it's quit. Okay, GarageBand is there. Let's start Active Trader Pro. I'm going to go back to GarageBand. I want to do the market scanner. Let's look at it. See if anything crossed up. J&J. Procter and Gamble. This one's on the Pepsi earnings. Guys, look at that. Let's go to strategy tester on Procter and Gamble. You have a MACD cross up here. Boy, this one has been beaten down. Okay, let me put in my... And why it won't let me, I think it's got to do with this Windows shell. Okay, we've got our quick GarageBand. Save. Oh, there's my neighbor. I got to go out and get my mail. By the way, I drove last night. I think I left on Monday night at about 10 o'clock. Drove through the night down here to Atlanta, and night driving is the way to go. Let me see. Can I put in Active Trader Pro so you guys can see it? Oh. Let me see. There we go. Now it's working. But I guess I can't. Why is it not letting me do this? Active Trader Pro. Window. Huh. It's not letting me show you Active Trader Pro for some reason. I was going to show you guys how to look at some of this stuff. But, why won't it let me switch up there? Let's do a new source. Display capture, no. We're going to do a window capture. ATP, we'll do this. And we'll say Active Trader Pro. Here we go. Let's send it to back. Order. Move to bottom. Oh, there we go. Remove it. Let's see. Safari. Active Trader Pro. There we go. Now you can see it. What do you guys want me to look at? I gotta restart my computer. I tell you what. The NASDAQ is up down 0.19 TQQQ. Looking at a 5-minute chart. Boy, this looks awful. I think today's range, 1793 to 1864. I think if you dip below that 18, I think you take it. I think I'd take that trade all day long. Maybe I'll put in an order for 1780 because it's losing. There's no support here for the NASDAQ. None. I just don't see any on this 5-minute chart. Look at the 1-minute chart. Wait till you see the 1-minute chart. Oh, and it's doing it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So if I zoom in, see it got 2 outside the Bollinger Bands. It kind of went back in. See this one? 3 outside the Bollinger Bands. Could have run that one up a little bit. But Again, this one's trades within a tight range. Pan W, Palo Alto. I own Palo Alto. Let me go back to TrendSpider. I'll show you Palo Alto on TrendSpider. Because I am a dummy and did not get out of this one when it crashed. This and CrowdStrike. See that gap up there, Jesse? 186 to 188. I think it's going back there. It's at the one. It's at 153. See the Bollinger Bands? How it's trading outside these Bollinger Bands today? It's got that. The RSI is at 25, but take a look. That MACD is nowhere near crossing up. So I own this one. Let me see what my average purchase price is. So I think I've made some money on this, not a ton. All investments. Let me move down to Pan W. Yeah, I've lost 3% on this one, whereas I was up like 20%. My average purchase price is $159. So I've ridden this one all the way down. Honestly, I think I bought. Let me see where I bought this one. I'll tell you when. I bought this one 222.22. So I bought this way back here. See, I timed it perfectly. See that timing? Should have sold it up here. Should have sold it up here. Held it, lost. Should have sold it up here. Held it. Should have sold it up here. Should have sold it up here. Should have sold it up here. Absolutely should have sold it up here. I didn't. Still holding it. Moron. I'm the moron. So. Okay. Oof. DraftKings down 6%. I like DraftKings too, man. The problem is their cost of acquisition for customers. So it's trading outside that Bollinger Band, and the RSI is down at 28, but they're not making money. Earnings are coming up November 3rd. They might announce something. But it's cleared that 200-day. It's clear when it goes under the 200-day, it kind of trades there for a little bit, but then pops up. This could be a trade, but no time soon, because look at the MACD. Again, there's not a lot of technical. There's not a lot of catalyst. There's not a lot for this. Okay. I'm heading out. I've been on here for an hour. I'm going to go do a podcast with Rick. See you tomorrow, Jesse. I think you're the only one still listening. If anybody makes it this far on the replay, and you're still listening, just text me or comment down below, hamburger. I just want to see if people make it this far. And if you want me to do something for you, look at a stock or something, just let me know. There's your reward. Even though I